Well, the Alembic Foundation is an organization that we set up to be able to foster disruptive innovation, change through disruptive innovation. And we do that through open communities, using open processes to develop open technologies or open solutions that are basically put back into the commons. So one of our goals is to strengthen the ability of individuals to participate in a service-driven, networked, information-based economy. How can you do that? How can you provide economic power to those individuals, empower them so they can be full-fledged first-class citizens in that environment? And one of the ways you can do that is by having a strong commons of intellectual property so that people can take on that and stand on the shoulders of those who've come before them to build value-added applications or to do things on top of that that reach farther than you could have if you'd had to stand on the ground to start with. And so our whole idea is that we would foster communities that are focused on a particular problem, and they are enough people that are interested in solving that problem that they can come together and establish a community and a process for building a solution. And then that solution would be made available as part of the commons, either open source software or part of the Creative Commons license. It could be a technology like a piece of hardware platform, Arduino or something Arduino based as an example, or it could even be a policy, developing an open policy or a modeled piece of legislation. All of those we consider to be technologies, open technologies that communities can develop. So our whole goal is to create that umbrella organization that allows these communities to exist and to solve real-world problems and do it in a way that we build the commons so that there's more for us to, as everybody can take advantage of that.
Well, you know, as we said, it was kind of the logical next step for the growth of the community, somewhat triggered by this contract protest, right? But also by a recognition that now is the time to bite the bullet and transition the project from government managed to community managed, with the government still involved in that, no doubt, and still getting what it needs from the code base, but moving forward in a way that is rooted more in kind of an independent community. And you know, I'm not the only kind of open source guy that decided to kind of, you know, pick up my heels and go to DC for a little while and try to see what impact we could have with the change in government from a few years ago. There were a bunch of others who had come out. Many of them have stayed and gone in at different levels, right? And there's a lot of different schools of thought out there about the best way to get government involved in sponsoring the development of open source code, opening its own code base up, using more open source code. All of us have a very pragmatic sense of, you know, the reasons why. It's because we want to make sure that our tax dollars are being used in the most effective way, and we think that government has a unique position in using technologies that are non-proprietary, having a unique reason to use technologies that are independent of any particular vendor, right? In addition to the practical benefits, it's about governance, right? Source code, as Larry Lessig titled a book of his, Code is Law, right? And the best way for us to know that these systems work, you know, the systems of governance, the systems of connecting citizens to the services they need, is by having underlying code. The pitch to government had always been, this is a better, faster, more effective way to build interoperable technologies, that there's this resonance between truly open standards and truly open source code. And, you know, telling you here's the standard is not nearly as effective as saying here's code that you can plug into your systems that gets you talking that standard for free. You know, and that's the hammer. We look around the world and see how many nails are out there. You know.
So this whole idea of transformation through disruptive innovation, that was one of the key concepts that we thought we wanted to encapsulate or enshrine in what we were doing. Make it a part of the fabric of the organization so that everything we were doing was focused on transformative change, doing it through disruptive innovation. So we began to look for word pictures and images of that. And alchemy is all about the transmutation of base substances into gold. So something of little value into something that has a lot of value. So the alchemist, the actual vessel where the transmutation took place was called the Alembic, A-L-E-M-B-I-C. It's this globe-shaped retort that has a pelican beak off the side of it. So that if you think of that glass beaker that's got the pelican-shaped thing that goes off to the side, that's what an alembic is. But more importantly, it's the vessel where transformation takes place. So Alembic Foundation is the vessel that we want to focus on transformation. That's where we want those transformations to take place. So what comes out of that is, for the alchemist, was gold. So what comes out of our transformative process is something of value. So we decided when we were looking for a name for Connect when we were renaming it, we decided we wanted to capitalize on that. So we went and looked at the Latin word for gold, which is aurum, and so we took that and came up with a noun derivative of that, aurion, A-U-R-I-O-N. So the idea is that the output of this transformative process was gold, aurion, and that's where we came up with the name and the Alembic Foundation to capture those ideas of transformative change.